All right, sixth grade, if you want to take out your My Books, turn to page 254, 255. That's what this video will be about. This one is about King Tut, the Hidden Tomb story. And this is a narrative nonfiction. So what that means is it gives factual information throughout the story when it tells the story. So these things are going to be facts. We know what facts are. Facts are the truth. That's what actually happened. It's not an opinion. They don't say this, that, this could be this or this could be that. They're going to give you facts, information that, this actually happened and that this is what they're talking about. It says, narrative nonfiction gives factual information by telling a story. Authors of narrative nonfictions may organize their ideas using headings and subheadings. So like a heading is, if we look in here, like one of these, this would be a heading, these red things, okay? They're in big bold print to get you to know what that section is talking about, and to, that's the way they're organizing this, when they're giving those headlines there, or those big headings to say, tell you what the next section is going to be, what they're talking about in that particular section, so that you don't get confused if they talk about, like the first page here in 256 talks about gold everywhere. Then they turn to Tutankhamun, which is King Tut. They don't want to run from this page and then go to the next page and just start talking about something random or something that's a totally different subject than the first page, and not have like a heading to show you what they're going to do. They do that a lot in our studies weeklies. So there's a heading for each section of what it's about, so that it just doesn't run on one thing and switch to a different subject and the reader's like, why are they talking about this now, without showing that thing. So a lot of times when you get these things that talk about facts and talk about how they organize them, you're going to have those little sections, and you're going to have headings or subheadings or whatever. So if you have a heading about King Tut and then a subheading about his tomb, it's going to show you what they're talking about in that section particularly, so that what it's not just going from one idea to the next without any context, and you're just going to be like, wait, why are they talking about this thing now? They were just talking about a whole different thing. So that's where they do that type of thing. Includes visuals such as photographs, illustrations, maps, and diagrams. So pictures you see that have been taken by a camera, or that an illustrator might draw up, or maps and things that show you where these places are when they're talking about these things. There's a whole mixture. When you go through this, there's a whole mixture of all these different things. There's pictures taken from way back when. There are artists that have drawn pictures. There are things that have been found in these different places they take a picture of. So there's a lot of different things that they put in here to go along with the information, the reading that you're reading about. So when you're reading about these different things, you can get a visual of what they're talking about, and that's a good thing to have with a narrative nonfiction piece, or an information, or a writing, or a reading, because it gives you that, sense of, okay, that is true. I can actually see a picture of it. I can actually see what they're talking about, so it's true. So that's kind of what this story is going to be structured like. If you look at the set of purpose here, you can do this again. You don't have to send me a picture, but you can do this before you read. It says, think about the title and genre of this text. Well, the genre is narrative nonfiction. So it's going to give you facts and information. It says, have you ever heard of King Tut? We've talked about him before. What stories or facts do you know about him? Obviously, just by his name, he was the king. King of what? If you don't know, I don't know. You can look at the title. It says King Tut, the Hidden Tomb. So obviously they dug him up and found him. So that's to be a fact. What stories or facts do you know about him? Think of the question about King Tut that you would like to answer by reading this text. Write down your question below. So you can write down your question, thinking about something. What was he like? Where did they find him? Where did they find him? What was he? Why was he a king? You can write a question in there and then see if it gets answered. It makes it interesting to read, and you can see if your question gets answered throughout the reading. There are only 4 vocab words for this one, and I believe there are only 4 or 5 for the next story, so there are not too many vocab words this week. It's better than having like 8 for each one, and then 16. So there's not too many, which is good. The 4 that are in this vocab, and you can see them on your thing. The first one is chariots. Chariots. Chariots are ancient two-wheeled vehicles pulled by horses. You can see the guy standing on there, the 2 horses. He's being pulled by with these wheels by the horses. It says ancient Romans used chariots during battle, hunting, and special events. So that's one way that they could get around by not walking or running, because they obviously didn't have running vehicles back then. They couldn't just start up their car and go drive and get somewhere. This could be a quicker way to go somewhere, or hunt, like it said, or do battles or special events like that. So, I don't know if you want to do battle with that, but that's how they did it back then. The next word is annex. Annex. An annex is a room that is attached to another larger room. So this is a huge room. This is attached to that room. See how they cut it off with the walls? It says the apartment includes an annex connected to the living room and kitchen. So that's the thing that they're talking about right there. Living room, kitchen, living room, kitchen, annex attached to it. Next word is shrine. A shrine is a place that is treated with reverence because it is associated with a sacred person or object. And it says the mummy of King Tut was found inside a large shrine. So they had a large shrine. He was an important person. It was associated with a sacred person. He was the sacred person that they're talking about. So he was found inside a large one of these. So that kind of answers what, it could answer a question that you had maybe at the start, what you knew beforehand, that was doing that, where they found him. Last word, autopsy. It says, during an autopsy, a dead body is examined to figure out the cause of death. So they're going to figure out how this thing, or this whatever, passed away or died. It says, the marine biologist will have to do an animal autopsy on the beached whale to determine the cause of death. And that's kind of a crazy picture. But they're going to do an autopsy to figure out the cause of death. What happened to this particular person? What happened to this particular, not person, but particular beached whale, this animal? So it's going to be an interesting thing doing that. That's what marine biologists are for, though. They study that stuff and make sure that it's all correct and what they're supposed to be doing. So that's what they will be doing with that. So those are the 4 vocab words. And again, like I told you before, you can look at these cards. I assigned them on your online thing, and you can just go through and look through all of them. I'll show you how to do it on Tuesday at our Zoom too, but you can look through all these pictures. They're the same, just like that. Or you can go on your story, and it has them in yellow. I don't know if you can see that. Yellow right there. And then it has the meaning down below. You can use that as well. You can also use a dictionary or internet, whatever. But then you'll take out this worksheet 213 vocab, module 9 week 2. Okay? And this one is, you got to answer the questions below. So you need to answer what these vocab words mean in these questions. Describe how a chariot in ancient times might have looked. Well, you saw the picture that I showed you. You can look it up online or do something if you want to see other chariots that have been made, but how might they look? You saw the wheels, the horses, how that were connected with the ropes. So, you want to look at that stuff and see, how they might have looked. Or you can just guess and, make your best guesstimate. Number 2, if someone built an annex to the place where you live, how would you use it? So if you had an extra room in your house, how would you use it? What would you use it for? And there's 2 other questions, and then you have to take 2 of the words and use them in a sentence. So that's it for this video, this vocab, for this story. That's all you need to do is this one page. Don't worry about the discussion at the end. And then you'll be done with this story, okay? See you in the next video for the next story that we have.